Welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance to working Rhode Island families. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
Thank you all very much for coming. My name is George Nee. I'm the president of the Rhode Island AFL-CIO, and they asked me to be the MC for the 6th year in a row, so I guess I'm on a roll. This is the 28th walk for the Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And it's the 6th walk that has been sponsored by the Rhode Island Building Trades. You know, as you all know, the labor movement builds things. The labor movement teaches kids. Make sure your water's safe. Make sure that the food gets to you in a safe manner. Make sure that nurses take care of you when you're sick. But a lot of times people forget we're all members of this community. We live here. We're your neighbors. We're your friends. We're your coaches. And we care about kids. And that's why people are out here this morning, to make sure that we maintain our commitment to make this a better state and a better country by what we do every day. So, again, thank you very much, and it's now my pleasure to introduce the mayor of our city, Mayor Jorge Elorza. But before I do that, I want to say one thing. This man is committed to children, he's committed to jobs, and he's committed to a strong economy. But as you walk around today, the mayor and I had a meeting, I don't know, 7 or 9 months ago, and he said, what would you like to see in the city of Providence? I said, I'd like to see the roads fixed in Roger Williams Park, because I drive through there a lot and walk through that. So when you walk around today and you see all these roads that were done by our building trades members, it was the leadership of the mayor to make sure that when you walk today, you don't get into a pothole so big you couldn't get home. Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, we can do better. Some labor spirit here. Good morning, everyone. It is really, really great to be here. Thank you so much, George, for the introduction. I want to thank all of labor, the building trades, but really all of labor for coming together to help support our community and support our city through our kids. You know, these things don't come together on their own. It takes leadership, it takes an entire team. And so I want to just recognize some great leaders that we have in our community, starting with a partner that I have in government, a man that I've turned to on a number of occasions and turned to for advice, and has been a bit of a mentor to me. Please give it up for Charlie Lombardi, Mayor of the great city of North Providence. I also want to recognize the Executive Director of the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Rhode Island, Katie Afonseca. Congratulations, Katie. And of course, so many good friends in labor, beginning with George Nee, Mike Sabatoni. I see Ron Coya, Steve Smith, I see Jim Riley. I mean, I see so many folks, I can't name them all, but please give them all a big round of applause. And last but not least, there are two other groups of folks I want to recognize. The lead site-based program coordinator for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Please, a nice round of applause for Jen White. Yay! And last, the reason why we're here, you know, to support folks that actually are participating day in and day out in the program. So I want to recognize Eric O'Connor, who's a mentor with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. Now, all these folks I mentioned, they're important and they're cool, but the real people that matter are the kids that we're serving through this program. So I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, but I'm going to ask Giovanni just to stand up and give a nice wave. That's what it's about, folks. So I'm so excited to be here to get this walk, this run, this hike, whatever your pace is, going for this tremendous, tremendous cause. As mayor, it's a priority of mine to make sure that we have strong and vibrant neighborhoods in every part of our city. And for that, we need to make sure that we have opportunities for our kids and opportunities for our families. Perhaps the most important thing that we can share with our young people is a gift of experience and mentorship so that we can pass down the lessons that we've learned throughout our lives. Because you know, sometimes all that it takes is us putting our arm around a boy or a girl and letting them know that there's a caring adult there for them that can help steer them in the right direction and down the right path. That's what we can do every day. We can literally change someone's lives. And that's why I'm so appreciative of everyone who's out here supporting this organization and who has chosen to be a mentor for the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. So I'm so excited to see so many residents, so many stakeholders, and so many partners come out to support our youth and come out to support our community and our city. I could not be more appreciative of the partnership that we have with labor, of the partnership that we have with our friends out there in the community. This is what building a strong and vibrant city is about, and you are all right at the core of it. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Now, if you enjoy yourself today, you can come back tomorrow and run with the mayor in the park. He runs here on every Sunday. So
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. So if you really enjoy it, meet him here tomorrow. At this time, I want to bring up Mike Sabatoni. I was told by Mike to, go to the abbreviated version. That's good, because if I got through reading all of his titles, wouldn't be walking till noontime. But Mike is, everybody knows Mike. He's a leader in the labor's union, head of the building trades, and has taken the labor movement, in particular building trades, to that cliche, the next level. The community involvement, the level of concern for everybody, in this community, his commitment on boards and commissions representing labor, and his commitment of never forgetting where he came from to make sure that all young people have a chance. Particularly want to mention Building Futures, which is an organization that's bringing a lot of inner city kids an opportunity to get into the trades. And it's come at a great sacrifice to the building trades. They're putting money into it, but that's because they believe in the future. And sometimes we take a few hits in the labor movement, and Mike always looks around and he says, you know what, I'm a tomorrow guy, so let's just keep moving forward. So with that, my brother, Mike Sabatoni.
Thank you. So I'm going to lead by example. I've got about 12 pages here, and I'm only going to read the first one. And my comments are going to be short and sweet. Just want to echo what George and the mayor said, just giving a big thank you to all of you for coming here. This is the 6th year that we've done this walk. Between this and a couple of other partnerships with the Providence Bruins and the Paw Sox, and we've got representatives here from Paw Sox and Providence Bruins, over $100,000 that we've raised for the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Ocean State, all because of you. So, quick point of privilege, I'd just like to recognize that, I get to stand up here and make some comments, but it doesn't happen without strong organizations, including my own, the Laborers International. It starts at the top. Unfortunately, couldn't be with us here today, but allows me to do what I do, and that's my boss and mentor, Amini Sabatoni, the General Secretary Treasurer of the Laborers International. But we do have with us here today Vice President and Assistant Regional Manager Vincent Messino, so I'd like to give a shout out to Vinny. I'd like to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters from the labor movement, especially the building trades. I can't do any of this without a strong building trades. I got Roy Colomb, the vice president. I saw Mike Daly, Richard Pacheco, Norbert Oliveira, all the guys from the building trades out of here, Paul Alvarez. It takes a whole team to accomplish things like this and give back to the community. So I'd like to hear it for all my building trade brothers and sisters as well. And then just last but not least, to put an event like this together, the committee that did this, and that was Tina Santos, unfortunately, who couldn't be with us here today, Taylor Milpaws, Stephen Yang, and Gina Frattori, who really puts this together and coordinated all of this and picked this venue, which I think this is going to be the venue from now on because this is perfect. So let's hear it up for them as well. And then just last but not least, why we're all here, a good friend of mine that I've known since we were kids, who really epitomizes what it is to give back to the community, raising a family of his own, running a small business, but still taking time to give back and reach down and help someone in need. And that's my good friend, Eric O'Connor, a big brother who's here today, and I want to bring him up to say a couple of words. This is what it's all about right here. So Eric, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. Not known to be a great orator, I should say. But first, I did prepare something, and I have it written down here. And I want to thank the Laborers Union. Organized labor offers humanity so much. Most of all, it offers opportunity and hope. From your apprenticeship programs, carries a person right through as a skilled either laborer, electrician, plumber, carpenter, iron worker, right on through to being a skilled foreman on a job site. It offers hope. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at the Big Brothers and the Big Sisters of the Ocean State. So I think it's absolutely fitting, Michael, that you've adopted us. And thank you very, very much from the bottom of our heart. At the same time, I know a lot of you guys out there, and I'm looking around, so I'm on these job sites every day. I'm looking at Joe and Paul, and I know all of you guys, because I'm picking up the dumpsters on your job sites every single day. And I'm always going up to you guys and saying, hey, listen, you know, it's pretty cool being a big brother. And they go, well, Eric, what do you do? And I don't know, I don't have the time. I got news for you. My little brother, Gio, makes me feel like a big shot. He absolutely does. Almost everything I want to do, he says, yeah, let's do it. Think about at home, guys, when you go, maybe to your own kids that are kind of grown up now, hey, let's go on a hike. Nah, I don't want to do it. Gio? I say, whatever it is. He goes, yeah, let's do it. I mean, I feel like a big shot, and look at me. I'm here talking to you guys here today. But listen, again, thank you very much from the bottom of our heart. Hey, let's carry it forward. All you guys out there, women, men, we need you. Come aboard, please. You know, I don't know who said it, but it was a smart person. It takes a village to raise a child. It really, really does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. You know, George mentioned the condition of the park, not only with the improvements to the infrastructure and the roads, but I'd also like to give a shout out to President of Rhode Island Labor's District Council and Business Manager of Labor's Local 1033, Ronald Coyle, whose men and women that we represent, service, and keep this park looking the way that it does. So thank you, and all the proud members of Labor's 1033. And then last but not least, I would like Taylor to come up and just say a couple of words about the program, and then we're a little behind, so pick up that pace when you're out there walking, all right? So thank you again.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us here today. And like Eric said, we need positive role models for our kids, and he is the perfect example of that. And it's about 6 to 8 hours a month, that's it, and you can change a child's life. And Jen is famous for saying, mentoring is the most fun you'll ever have volunteering. So I hope that some of you decide to help change a life and make Rhode Island better. And we have applications here if you're interested in signing up. And thank you so much to the trades. And you guys are such great supporters of us, and we really, really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Now, this isn't part of the script. I just want to just share one thought as we're leaving. We've been going through a pretty difficult political season with a lot of animosity and discord, but I was just standing here watching this crowd and these faces, and what we're doing here this morning is why this is a great country. So think about that when you're walking. Reaching out, taking care of each other, reaching out, being with each other, knowing what a family's all about. That's why this country's great, and no one's going to take that away from us.
soldier blew a whistle, and they charged. The workers fought back the charge. They started pulling every fire alarm in the area. They opened up manhole covers to use for protection. They opened up the fire hydrants all along the road to create as much chaos as possible. An old tire, this is my favorite part, was stripped to the rubber and tied between two trees, and they used it as a giant slingshot. If you remember that flower pot that hit the guards? It was fired from that giant slingshot. By 7 p.m., the troops had pushed the workers all the way back to Dexter Street. But somehow, you gotta love this, they dropped a box of grenades during their charge. The workers picked up the box of grenades and started firing them back at the National Guardsmen. And they reclaimed the territory that they had lost during the previous charge. At 10 p.m., the workers started firing Roman candles into the air. So that way, not only could they give themselves some protection, but they could find out where the cops and the militia were charging from. They were using their own version of Very Lights to protect themselves. At 11:50 that night, the soldiers charged again, and this time they forced the workers here into the graveyard. At 1:15 a.m., the 243rd deployed anti-aircraft lights. That's how chaotic the scene was. And by 3 a.m., with both sides exhausted, the battle was over for the day. It continued another day. There were more shootings, including the wounding of a 73-year-old woman by gunfire. Things were so out of hand that Governor Greene went to the General Assembly and asked for sweeping military powers, including the right to deputize members of the American Foreign Legion and veterans of foreign wars. A line that many of you have probably heard before. Greene told the legislators, this is not a strike, but a communist uprising. Right here in little old Salesville. Greene was not successful in convincing the Republican-held Assembly to give him the special powers he asked for. But the threat was significant enough that the factory owners were convinced to shut down the plant eventually. And once the Salesville plant was shut, the mob filtered away, picketing was orderly, and tensions simmered down. The narrative of what took place began to be crafted immediately. Governor Greene had originally told the people of Rhode Island that there were two opposing forces at work here in this strike. The first were the communists, who, in his words, at least had the value of sincerity. The other forces were the reactionaries. Again, his word, reactionaries, that were made up of the deputy sheriffs and embodied in the faces of Harold Reno and the people that ran the mills. Now, though, after the chaos of the last few days, the blame was placed solely on the communists. Greene issued an order to take to the state police and to every local police department in Rhode Island, round them up, find every communist and put them in jail. They confiscated flyers that were calling for a workers' march on the State House. Even the union got into the act, in issuing instructions to its members that if they were to see any communist on a picket line, to report them to the authorities immediately. Aided and abetted by the yellow journalism of the time, or all time, a witch hunt began, and the rest, as they say, is history. But were the communists really to blame? A leading figure of the communist labor movement at the time, Anne Burlak, who was known by many different names, including Seditious Anne, the Hunger March Queen, my favorite, the Red Flame, was a likely subject for the establishment forces to blame for the actions. But despite their efforts, she wasn't around. Even though she had run for mayor of Pawtucket in 1932, as a result of a disastrous 1933 strike in the area, her credibility had really plummeted. Seen in Fall River during the strike, in fact, there's some pictures of it, but because of how little respect she actually held with the people, very unlikely that she had anything to do with the strike, or that they would have allowed her to do anything with the strike. Another leading figure of the union was its first and at the time only female organizer, Elizabeth Nord. Nord, who's actually buried right here in this cemetery in the back row, was a Pawtucket girl. She went to go work in the mills at the age of 14 as a quiller. She was specifically hired by the United Textile Workers to counteract the appeal of Ann Burlap. During the strike, she became the institutional face of the movement. She organized picket lines from Blackstone Valley down to South County, in her words. But she wasn't here either. Why? Why would the union not rely on a valuable asset? Someone who represented the workforce both geographically and genderly based, and someone who was very astute when it came to local politics. Why not use her? I think the answer lies in a more important third woman that was very involved in this strike. Rita Brule. Rita was a 16-year-old Central Falls girl who fought the cops with such intensity, a regional manhunt was employed to track her down. And even though she never left Lonsdale Avenue, she was spotted at nearly every picket line from Maine to Maryland. For 3 days, she led waves of workers attacking the militia, and often was heard, let's just say with less than charitable choices of words for what the cops were doing to her neighborhood. At the point of the most ferocious fighting, the militia were pulled out again, lined up. Their commander gave the orders. Ready, he said. The soldiers got their guns ready. Aim! The soldiers aimed their guns at the strikers. Rita stepped forth from the crowd in front of everyone, including reporters, and said, "Fire!" They didn't, at least not that time. But here's a 16-year-old woman standing up in front of these forces who are gunning them down. I mean, nowhere to be found, and the staff person hired from the union was nowhere to be found. The legendary girl in the green dress did more to fight for the defense of her friends, family, and her neighborhood than anyone else did. She was arrested and given $800 bail. No one's ever really sure if she ever paid it, because to a 16-year-old from Central Falls, they might as well made it $8 million. But she's vital to understanding what really happened here, because there are some uncomfortable facts that we need to know about. First is that despite the battle and the eventual success in closing the mill, the workers themselves didn't join. There were 1,168 people that worked at the bleachery. After the day of the most intense fighting, only 50 failed to report to work. The second thing that we need to just acknowledge to ourselves is that the union never really wanted anything to escalate this way. And as soon as they did lose control of the situation, they placed the blame squarely on people that had no role in what happened here. The third is that the political leaders at the time, most especially Governor Greene, knew the truth was inconvenient to their political agenda. It simply could not be allowed that oppressed immigrant workers living in a surrounding community had dared to challenge the power of the state in the militarized attempt to control them. No, they had to have been controlled by outside forces. Forces that they, the political establishment, could use to scare everyone else in the state for their own ends. It was about control. And control was of paramount importance to the politicians. See, it was an election year. And Greene, a Democrat, was leading what was then a Republican state. And he knew he faced a potential backlash if he was seen to use arms against workers defending themselves. At the October 1934 AFL convention, which was in Newport, Greene doubled down on the idea that he was only trying to keep the Reds from taking over the state. He told the crowd, while he had heard some criticism of deputy sheriffs, no one had issued any complaints about the state police or the militia. It's hard to do it when you're dead. But the sad part, at least to me, is that he got backed up in this position by the leaders of the United Textile Workers. Tom McMahon, the national president of the UTW, and Joseph Sylvia, who was the lead organizer right here in this area, spoke to the crowd and encouraged them to support Green. He did the right thing. There was one brave guy from Carpenter's Local 94 who stood up and said, "I don't think so." He put a resolution before the body to condemn Green in his use of the militia and shooting down workers. His motion was defeated. The convention did, however, pass a resolution creating a committee of union leaders to, quote, collect all information regarding communistic organizations and their activities. And they did pass a resolution encouraging the AFT to organize the women workers of the state of Rhode Island. But it was with the help of organized labor that Green was reelected. And in January of 1935, he orchestrated what is known as the Bloodless Revolution. With less than transparent means, he made sure the Democratic Party took over the General Assembly and established a hegemony that has not given up power since. That would not have been possible without the support of organized labor, who conveniently forgot their martyred dead on the streets of Salesville. Until now, because thanks to the work of the Rhode Island Labor History Society, the story of the Salesville Massacre has been rescued from the ash heap of history. The names of the dead and the names of the heroes are slowly beginning to reemerge from the shadows. And when we remember the events of Salesville, it's important to remember that they have as much in common with the Great Memorial Day Massacre of 1937, or the attack on the Brown and Sharp workers of 1982, as they do with the resistance in Ferguson, to the summary executions of people like Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Eric Harris, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, and Sandra Bland. Because when oppressed people struggling for freedom are met with militarized reaction from the state, America's bloody history gets repeated over and over and over again. But as we say in the labor movement, which side are you on? Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen on this channel 3 times each week: Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 5 p.m.